The topic of today's video is the future is local, open, and tiny. So, the topics we're going over today. First, the creator of llama.cpp just joined Hugging Face. Second, a 744 billion parameter Chinese model trained on zero NVIDIA hardware is matching GPT-5 performance. And third, a text-to-speech model smaller than a photo on your phone running on a Raspberry Pi. Okay, let's get into it. This week, every single story points to the same thing. AI is leaving the cloud and moving onto your hardware. Let's get into it. GGML joins Hugging Face. Open source AI gets its power move. Okay, let's start with the big one. Georgy Jurganov, the person who built llama.cpp, the tool that lets you run large language models on your laptop without a cloud subscription, just joined Hugging Face. And before you panic, llama.cpp stays 100% open source. Full technical autonomy. Georgy is very clear about that. So what's actually happening here? Hugging Face is providing long-term resources, funding, infrastructure, institutional backing, so Georgie and his team can focus on what they do best, making local inference fast, efficient, and accessible. But here's the vision that gets me excited. Imagine Hugging Face's Transformers library handling model definition, the what, and llama.cpp handling local inference, the how. Together, that's an open source stack where you download a model, run it on your machine, and nobody can throttle it, paywall it, or shut it off. That is the dream. And it just got a lot more real. For builders, the signal is clear. If you're not already experimenting with local inference, now is the time to start. The llama.cpp ecosystem is about to get serious institutional support, which means better tooling, faster optimization, and broader hardware compatibility. Go pull the repo, try quantizing a model, get comfortable running things locally. Because when the cloud pricing shifts hit, and they will, we'll talk about that later, you'll want this skill in your back pocket. So, for the next news, GLM5, a 744 billion parameter model on zero NVIDIA hardware. Now let's talk about something wild coming out of China. Jipu AI just dropped GLM5. This is a 744 billion parameter model, mixture of experts, 40 billion active parameters, trained on 28.5 trillion tokens. But here's the kicker, it was trained entirely on Huawei Ascend chips. Zero NVIDIA hardware, none. Let that sink in for a moment, because the entire premise of US chip export restrictions was that cutting off NVIDIA access would slow down Chinese AI development. GLM5 just scored 77.8% on SWE bench. That beats GPT 5.2, which sits at 75.4, and it trails Opus 4.5 at 80.9. But we're talking about a model built on domestic Chinese silicon competing at the frontier. The chip sanctions didn't slow them down. They forced efficiency innovation. DeepSeek's mixture of experts work, and now GLM5 on Huawei hardware, these are direct responses to restrictions. Now here's where it gets interesting. Reddit users started noticing something. GLM5's personality feels a lot like Claude. The phrasing, the hedging patterns, the way it structures responses, and this opens up a real question that the industry keeps dancing around. Are Chinese labs training on synthetic data distilled from Claude and GPT outputs? This is not a conspiracy theory, it's a known practice. You take a frontier model, generate millions of high quality responses, and use those as training data, and it works. But it raises serious IP and terms of service questions. Every major provider explicitly prohibits using their outputs to train competing models. Is anyone enforcing that? Not really. Can they? That's unclear. But zoom out, because the geopolitical angle here is even bigger. Why did China go open source with this? Think about it strategically. Number one, asymmetric warfare. If you open source a model that gets developers 90% of the way to Claude or GPT quality for free, you undercut the revenue model of OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. Why pay when free is almost as good? Number two, ecosystem capture. This is the Android playbook. Give the platform away, own the ecosystem. Developers worldwide build on your architecture, your formats, your tooling, training data and improvements flow back. Number three, political cover. A model the whole world depends on is harder to sanction, but, and this is important, we need to be honest about what open source means here. The weights are open. You can download them, run them, fine-tune them, but the training data, opaque. The alignment choices, opaque. The objectives behind those choices, opaque. Open weights is not the same as open process. A state-aligned lab releasing model weights is not the same as a community-driven project where everything is transparent. But both can be useful, but they're not the same thing, and we should stop pretending they are. Okay, now on to the next news. Kidden TTS, the 25 megabyte model that runs TTS on a potato. Well, I mean not literally, but it can run on anything. Alright, let's shift gears to something you can actually go build right now. Kidden TTS just shipped version 0.8, and the numbers on this are kind of absurd. The nano model is only 15 million parameters, under 25 megabytes quantized, runs on CPU only, no GPU required, and it uses the Apache 2.0 license, which is a very open license, so you can use it for commercial purposes. Let me put that into perspective. A single high-res photo on your phone is bigger than this entire text-to-speech model, and it actually sounds good. They ship 3 model sizes, nano at 15 million parameters and 25 megabytes, micro at 40 million and 41 megabytes, and mini at 80 million with 80 megabytes. 8 built-in voices, and it runs on a Raspberry Pi. It runs on a low-end smartphone, and it runs in a browser? Now, why does this matter beyond being cool? Because this is exactly where the local AI story gets practical. If you're an indie dev and you're running a local language model, plus maybe a vision model, plus maybe some kind of agent framework, your GPU memory is already spoken for. You cannot afford to also run a heavy TTS model. Kidden TTS fits in the gaps. 25 megabytes of RAM for speech synthesis means you can add voice output to your local AI stack without sacrificing anything else. This connects directly to our lead story. The GGML plus Hugging Face merger is building the infrastructure for local inference. Kidden TTS is proof that tiny, efficient models can deliver quality output without cloud dependencies. This trend here is unmistakable. You do not need a $10,000 GPU rig to build with AI anymore. The builder angle, go grab Kidden TTS right now. Pip install it, pick a voice, and feed it some text. If you're building any kind of local assistant, accessibility tool, or IoT project, this slots right in. And because it's Apache 2.0, you can ship it commercially without thinking twice. So, on to the next topic, the subsidy trap. Why free AI won't stay free. So, before we go, I want to connect the dots on everything we just covered. Right now, the big closed AI providers are subsidizing costs. They're burning cash to keep prices low because they're chasing growth pre-IPO. ChatGPT Plus at $20 a month, that is not the real price. Claude Pro, subsidized. API pricing that keeps dropping, that's market capture, not sustainable business. At some point, the subsidy cliff hits. Prices go up, rate limits tighten, free tiers shrink. We've seen this playbook in every tech cycle. And when that happens, every story from this week becomes your escape hatch. GGML plus Hugging Face is building the local inference infrastructure. Tiny models like Kitten TTS proved you don't need corporate APIs for quality output. Open weight models, even the ones with complicated geopolitics, give you alternatives. The builders who are experimenting with local inference now, they'll be ready. The ones locked into cloud-only workflows, they'll be paying whatever the market decides to charge. Start building locally. The tools are here. The moment is now. That's the show. If this helped you see where AI is heading, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more news next week. Next week, we're digging into the latest local model optimizations and what the new wave of open weight releases means for your hardware. Drop a comment and tell me, are you running anything locally yet? I want to hear your setup. See you next week. Cheers.